Hi, my name is Daryl, and today I've got the pleasure of introducing Chuck Phillips. He works for ALiner, and we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects because I always wanted an A-liner with a twin bed because I think that would work really well for me and my wife. They used to have it, and now they've brought it back, and so I'm really excited to talk about the new twin bed layout. Chuck, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Chuck Phillips. I'm one of the territory managers for A-Liner. I mainly handle the eastern half, eastern U.S., Midwest, Northeast, and Eastern Canada, and been with the company for a long time. I've been working for A-Liner since 2006, so know the product very well. I've been selling it for a long time, and it's been a great product to represent for almost the last 20 years.
So you were just at a show. Did you show the twin at that show or
Yeah, we did actually. Yeah, Syracuse, New York last weekend, we had a giant display. We
okay.
actually had nine A-liners on display and two A-skate.
Wow.
Yeah, which is most shows you're gonna have two or three, usually max, because they got to get a little bit of all the products they represent in the show. But my guys in Syracuse have been doing so well with our lightweight products that they brought a giant display. We had the twin bed Evolution, we had the regular Evolution, all the way down to the Scout Light, basically.
Okay. You had the amp there too?
We did not have the amp in the show. That was the only one. A amp and a Ranger 10 were the only two they didn't have in stock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So what did folks think of the new twin product? Did you have some people interested in that?
Yeah, actually, we got a ton of attention. A-liners did very well at the show overall. We actually retailed four while we were there. We did a Scout Light, a Scout, and a Expedition, and we did sell the twin bed on Sunday. So
Oh, great.
yeah, I got a bunch of good looks, and actually, a couple who had previously owned a 2021 LXE,
Okay.
and they wanted to go a little bit bigger. When that twin bed came out, that was the thing that got them to make the leap. So pretty
That's
cool.
awesome. That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
my first question was, I've been kind of talking about the twin. You guys had everybody kind of changed their strategy when COVID hit, and you guys kind of streamlined the operation a little bit and took away some of the offerings, some of the models. Can you talk a little bit about the reasoning for bringing that twin bed back?
Yeah. Yeah, we never wanted to delete it in the first place, but you're right. It was COVID that basically made us streamline our production offerings down so that we could increase production, get as many units out as possible during the years where everybody had to be outside. So it was a good seller for us in 2018, 19, and into 20. And then when COVID hit and, around this time of 20, we had to make some tough decisions about dropping a couple products. And unfortunately, that was one of them. So we knew at some point we would probably bring it back when we could, and we had just introduced a couple new models previous to COVID that they had just come out, so we wanted to give those units opportunities. So, like the Family Expedition, for example. And anyway, we're back in a position now where it made sense to bring that back, and we did reintroduce it on a dealer level in September, and we're glad to have it back. It was always a good offering. We just had to make some tough decisions.
Yeah. So are you guys currently, so you said you sold one of those. So
Yeah.
you guys are currently manufacturing them and delivering them out to dealers?
Yeah, so we introduced it to the dealer body in September at the Indiana open house, and we took some orders off of it there, and a lot of dealers were happy to see it back in production, of course. And so we did start building them the fourth quarter of last year, and then we
Oh,
started
nice.
shipping, towards the end of the year last year, and so we did make it into a handful of shows between January and so far early March. So it's been in a few retail shows, not as many as we have liked, just because not every dealer was at open house to order them. But long story short is it's in production now, and it is on a pretty good number of dealer lots at this point, and we'll be hitting more as the spring goes on.
Oh, that's exciting. So
Yeah.
is that model kind of considered a 2025 model, or is that still like a 2024 model?
Yeah, so we're still on 24s.
Okay.
Our model changes usually happen midsummer sometime, more like July or August.
Okay.
So we try and sell the current model year for, at least half of the year. This industry has been a little tricky on model years. There was pre-COVID especially, there was manufacturers bringing out the next model year way too early and trying in the name of trying to beat the other guys out of the gate or something. But we've all kind of drawn a line in the sand at this point that you wait till at least July to bring out, for this year would be 2025's coming. So it is a 2024, and that's our current model year.
Um, So can you talk a little bit about this will be a this will be a kind of a controversial topic. So um, those cushions that come with the A-liner that you're supposed to use to make up, like the bed and stuff. Those
Yeah.
things are just not all that comfortable. And I really like the I really like the permanent bed because that's kind of more comfortable than
Yeah.
those cushions. And so that's what we currently have. I still do put like a topper on the permanent bed. Um, can you talk about the twin a little bit since those are kind of like dedicated beds? What is the kind of the mattress that you have in there on
Yeah.
that model?
Yeah. So the cushions are always a little bit tricky because you've got to have them high enough density that they're comfortable to sit on and you don't bottom out, right? And
Right.
then when you get them comfortable enough to sit on, they're a little bit firm to lay on
Yeah.
sometimes. So
Yeah.
it's tricky to find the happy medium. But what we did in the twin bed, along with the other Evolution models, is we went from a 4-inch high density cushion to a 6-inch slightly less dense cushion. So
Oh,
it's still
okay.
very comfortable for both sitting and laying, but
Okay.
since they're a little bit thicker, you don't have to have them be so firm, for sitting.
Okay.
So they are basically a 6-inch upgraded cushion with a softer upholstered material on the exterior
Nice.
versus those kind of faux leather ones we have in the Scouts Rangers Classics. So definitely a nice upgrade.
Okay. So have you tried laying on it?
I have, yes. Yeah, I have. Both in the twin
That
bed
should
and
be a
the Evolution.
requirement for all A-liners employees. They got to sleep in the A-liner one time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's best if we get out and use this stuff so we can actually know how to talk about it, right?
That's great.
Yeah.
So what is the weight of that thing? What's the dry weight of it and the tongue weight?
Yeah. So the dry weight on it's like 2,400 pounds. It's on a
Ooh, wow, that's
35.
pretty heavy.
It
Oh,
is.
it's
That's, the
a
evolutions in the
15-foot
15
box
foot.
though, so
Yeah. Yeah. With all the upgrades that come in on the evolution product from, the plastic cabinetry is a little bit heavier than the wood cabinets.
okay.
The thicker cushions are a little bit heavier than the regular cushions. The off-road package with the bigger 15-inch tires and wheels gives you a little bit added weight there too. So in general, just with the upgraded interiors and amenities on these Evolution series units, they do get up to our highest weight ranges, which is 2,400, basically both on the Evolution and twin bed. And then the only thing heavier would be the amp with the lithium battery under because that adds some weight at about 2,500. But overall weight range still for A-liner is basically 1,200 roughly to about 2,500. So it's on the upper end.
Okay. And that includes, does that one have the on the Evolution that has hard dormers on both sides? Is that right?
Yeah, on the Evolution units, we're doing hard dormers on both sides, and that front dormer is going to have your solar panel built in up on top, the 185-watt solar panel.
Okay.
So
Okay. Well, that's nice. And
yeah,
did you say what the tongue weight was?
240 on that. So it's exactly
Okay.
10% of the overall dry weight.
Okay. Well, that's great. Yeah, so I was looking at the layout. So I was comparing kind of the regular Evolution layout to the twin bed layout, and I've got a little picture of it. So we're kind of looking at the A-liner. Are you seeing that?
I do. Yep.
Okay, so we're kind of looking at, and I tried to, get them exactly the same size. And so I
Yeah.
don't know if I quite did it to scale. And then I actually looked at, what it looked like in the pictures as opposed to what it looked like on the initial layout that I think you guys included. And it kind of looked a little bit different too. Um, and so did you guys kind of have to kind of shrink the dinette kind of shower area a little bit and then kind of shift everything in order to accommodate the twins or um,
Yep. Yeah, so in that 15-foot box, we basically have two entry door placements. And the way that door is configured on the twin bed is basically exactly how it would look like on an Expedition.
okay.
So that makes your dinette up front a 40-inch dinette,
Okay.
and then gives you the option of doing the twin beds in the rear because the regular Evolution 15, that the entry door is more to the center of the trailer. So
Oh,
that
okay.
allows you 60 inches up front
Okay.
where you get a 60-inch dinette, which makes a queen bed up front in the Evolution 15, and
Okay.
your sofa makes a second queen in the back, which is really nice. Obviously, to have two queen beds in a 15-foot trailer is
Sure.
almost unheard of.
Yeah, absolutely.
But to get those twin beds laid out in the back to go lengthwise, we had to go with the Expedition type floor plan and the Expedition dinette, which is 40 inches, so more of like a one adult to two kids up front. and then
Okay.
you've got twin beds in the back. So your galley does get shortened up a little bit in the twin bed, and you do lose a little bit of a storage cabinet in that versus the Evolution. But everything in these smaller trailers again tends to be trade-offs, right?
Sure. Sure. Absolutely.
One quick note on that floor plan still too, if we're looking at the twin bed,
Sure.
you got your 40-inch dinette up front, which again is gonna be one adult to two kids probably. And then your twins, the way they're set up, obviously the whole plan behind this unit is to have people be able to sleep uh, separate from each other so that they don't have to climb over each other in a east to west type sleeping configuration like the rear sofa provides.
Uh-huh.
There are cushions and there are a few slats that go in between those twin beds. You can't make it a
Oh,
full king the way that
okay.
the old model used to make a full king in the back, but
Okay.
that nightstand had a little modular top piece that you could take off and
Okay.
create a giant king bed back there with the AC heat pump, which we're going to get to. Being in that nightstand, we couldn't build the cabinet lower like the old one was set up,
Hmm.
but there are two cushions that and some slats that you can fill in that center area. So if you want a king width down at the depending on how you're sleeping, the head or the foot of the bed down by the sink and the toilet. You can fill that in, or if people wanted to sleep together, you could make that like a sideways double. Basically, when that center area gets filled in, you're basically making a 56-inch by 80-inch like double bed.
Okay.
So there is some versatility back there on how you can set that up. Obviously, the twin bed's main thought were the people who again don't want to have to climb over each other at night to get in and
Yeah.
out to go to the toilet. And then that nicer nightstand that we have in this version, a lot of the customers I talk to have sleep machines and different things that they want to be plugging in at night. And
Let
that
me let
nightstand,
me let me bring up that real quick.
sure.
So that's the nightstand that we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see those two cushions on the left and the right side that are basically your seat backs when you're using this as a seating area. Because again, you got your dinette up front, which is a
Uh-huh.
freestanding table. If you want a little bit more room to sit, you can bring that freestanding table between the two twin beds and sit. And then like I said, you take those two cushions, fill in that center area. Now you've basically got a king width at the foot of the bed, or you could sleep sideways on it as a double. But yeah, so the nightstand in the middle, with the AC heat pump being mounted underneath the
Oh,
nightstand,
okay.
that's the reason why that one sits up a little bit higher. But the nice part about it is you've got some storage in there above the AC heat pump. You've got two air conditioning ducts, one that comes out on the front and one that comes up on the out on the top. And then there's two electrical plugs on the face of the cabinet, and then the two black circles that you see towards the top there on the left and the right. Those are double sets of USB. So you've got
Oh,
four
nice.
USBs and two regular electrical plugs back there.
Those are really positioned nicely too. That's great.
Yeah, charging phones and that kind of stuff at night, and you also have somewhere to plug in, CPAPs and like I said, the different things that people are going to need for comfortable nighttime sleeping.
Now you also have a couple of other vents, is that right? Kind of over on I guess if we're looking straight on over on the left-hand
Yep.
side down
Yep,
below.
on the foot of the bed there, that's a third air conditioning duct. So
Okay.
that air conditioning is going to circulate very nicely with the ducts pointing out in different directions and getting to the center of the trailers.
But that should do a pretty good job of dispersing that air for sure. So that
I
should be
think
fine.
so for sure. And this one, unlike a rear sofa model where you'd be pulling your bed out over the ducts,
Yeah.
that was the initial complaint on the AC
Yeah.
heat pumps was
Yep.
we didn't think about the circulation aspect of it when you pull that sofa out and then you put bedding over it. Tend to want to trap the cold air back into the return versus pumping it into the trailer. So that's why we reposition the ducts on a bunch of these models. But that one with the top one would, on the nightstand would never be covered. The one at the foot of the bed would never be covered. If you ever filled in the center of this sleeping area, you might cover up that third one, but I think you'd still get plenty of flow, especially when you're using as twin beds.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
There's like a little cubby hole on the top there. Is that another kind of a storage location?
Yep, just some general storage. There's some area in there that if we didn't cut that hole in there would have been dead space, and we never like to eliminate storage space in these
Yeah.
A-liners because storage
Yeah.
is a premium, right?
Yep, absolutely. So can you let's see, can you talk about some of the other appliances that come with this guy?
Yeah, so this thing is completely loaded, like you said. Basically, we've got the AC heat pump, which is a 9,000 BTU electric air conditioner. There's a heating element built into that, which works down to about 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Once it gets colder than 45, then you switch over to your propane furnace. So
Okay.
you've got the 18,000 BTU propane furnace. The nice thing about that is you don't have to be plugged in to use that. Obviously, you just run it on the propane, and that amount of heat in a trailer the size of an A-liner is more than enough, obviously. And then you got your really nice glass covered sink and stove that you're showing. You've got the three-way refrigerator, which is a huge feature to me because the vast majority of refrigerators in the industry are going to 12 volt only, and
Yeah.
that's why there's a huge push on lithium batteries and solar panels. The nice thing about this refrigerator is it's still three-way, so you can run it on electric when you're plugged in. 12 volt keeps it cold while you're driving. And then if you were boondocking somewhere, you can run that refrigerator on the propane, which is extremely efficient. It's just one little pilot light that's running, and you could run that refrigerator on propane for weeks.
Okay. Do we have the water heater? Is that the on-demand one, or is that
Yep.
propane?
We just made that change in the standard units, the Ranger series, the classics, LXEs, those still have a 6-gallon tanked gas water heater. In the Evolution models, we did just upgrade all those across the board to
Okay.
a Suburban tankless on-demand water heater. So
Okay.
the nice thing about that is they're more uh, energy efficient. They use less propane because ours is gas, not gas electric, and same thing with our tanked ones. But because you're only heating hot water on demand and when you need it, you're not keeping a tank of hot water heated all the time.
Yeah.
You're saving propane there, and that's especially important if you're running your furnace. But we did go to the on demand in all the Evolution series.
And you said we do have solar on board as well, right?
Yeah, so on top of that front hard dormer, we mounted the 185-watt flexible panel up there, and that will keep your battery charged all the time so that you've got a nice charge coming in. That lets you run your lights and fan pretty much as you want, as long as you've got some sunlight, and then keeps things like the igniter and the blower on the furnace going, your demand water pump, and when you're running water. So that solar panel allows you to do quite a bit while you're off grid.
Okay. And this one has what the other kind of standard, I guess, Evolution 15s have is it has the shower.
Yeah, so that's our hidden shower, which again, that was a customer feedback thing. A customer of ours had bought one of those and installed it in his Expedition, and we had not seen that particular item yet. But when we did, we said, "All right, that's the ticket right there." Over the last 15 years, we've had a couple different shower configurations that, when you put them either where they were, where a dinette bench was, or where the cassette toilet is, and you have folding walls that came up around them, is big and open and
Yeah.
airy as the A-liners feel. When you put those walls up in there, it really
Yeah.
starts to take away from that. So this is the best of both worlds. You got a recessed shower pan in the floor. There's a shower curtain that hangs down. And then when you're not using the shower, you drop the shower curtain and ring everything right into the shower pan, close the lid, and it doesn't take up any space at all when you're not using it.
So you're saying this was actually kind of something that a customer had bought for their LXE and they
It was
shared it with
actually,
you?
yep, it was an Expedition actually, because the LXE would already have the shower and toilet
Okay,
in
that's
there.
right.
And this pan in particular is too wide to fit because an Expedition or an Evolution is 7 feet wide, where
Okay.
a Classic or an LXE would only be 6.5. So you wouldn't have the room to put this in the smaller body units. But
Okay.
yeah, this was a customer who bought one, installed it in an Expedition, sent us a picture of it, and we said, "Where did you get that?"
Ah!
Uh, that's how it started.
I never heard that story before.
Yeah, no,
That's great.
absolutely. It's we say we take customer feedback, seriously and often, and we do really. We get a lot of great ideas from our customers, and that's one of the best ones we've seen.
That dude should be getting a commission on each one.
Right, exactly. Royalty.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
And so we also have a cassette toilet as well.
Yeah, so just when you come into your entry door there on the left, that's hidden in a cabinet when you're not using it. But yeah, you got a cassette toilet that has a 4-gallon cartridge that pulls out, and it's a pretty easy and clean operation. You take that to the dump station or possibly even the restroom and empty it out. Bring the black tank back and slide it back into its cubby, its baggage door basically from the outside. So you don't have, the nice thing about it is you don't have to move the entire RV to empty your tanks. A fully plumbed bathroom system, you'd have to hook up to the RV, move it to the dump station, get your sewer hose and all that kind of stuff out. Where this is a nice, easy operation. You just take the cartridge out, empty it out, and bring it right back. So pretty nice and convenient to have.
What has your feedback been on the Evolution in regards to the flooring? That's kind of a different kind of a flooring as opposed to kind of what you've typically been using. It seems like it'd be maybe a little more durable.
Yeah, so we usually use a nice linoleum style floor in the standard units, which has been no issue really, and it gets us no major complaints as far as major scratching and all that kind of stuff. But this is a like a toy hauler style flooring, so it's a polyvinyl flooring is what they call it, and it will not for sure get scratched by if you had a rock in the bottom of your boot or something along those lines. It's definitely very robust. You just sweep it out, and it's very easy to maintain, and you don't have to worry about any real maintenance on it at all.
So I guess I'm asking a kind of keep it quiet. Are there any are there any kind of changes planned for any of the models? You guys did do the on-demand system kind of for all the models for 2024. Is there any kind of new things going on for 2025 that you want to tease out there?
Yeah, no, we've been talking about any potential improvements for the 25 model year, which again wouldn't be till midsummer headed towards fall, but there isn't anything major right now. We've
Okay.
talked about a couple different models. We're not sure that we can all agree on which one we think is the most important yet. I'm pushing for something even smaller and lighter, and then we've got people wanting to go the other way or maybe even entertain another A-scape. But there's a couple small items we're talking about that we haven't added yet, like battery disconnect switches and stuff like that that are becoming pretty standard in the
Mm,
industry. So
yeah.
there will probably be a couple small bells and whistles that we add to our current build. But like I said, I've been with A-Liner since 2006, and I can tell you that from a quality standpoint and from a ease of ordering and stocking for dealers and retail customers, with the limited options we have these days and the number of floor plans we have at this point, I really do feel like we've got it dialed in pretty well. Not that we won't continue to come up with some new ideas as time goes on, but nothing groundbreaking that I can talk about just yet. But we're looking.
Okay. So let's talk about price. So what's the list price on this twin bed?
So the twin bed, this one is going to be right around. This one's going to be right around 50,000 on the MSRP,
Okay.
and generally speaking, it's going to be a low 40s retail in most areas.
Okay. Do you are because I know what a lot of people are going to say. A lot of people are going to be like, "Oh man, I really want the twin beds, but I don't want to spend 40 grand for it."
Right. Right.
Um, are there any sort of tinklings? What's the right word? I don't even know what the right word is for this. But are there any thoughts for bringing that twin bed to some of the other models? Whoa.
Yeah, it's not. We haven't had that discussion yet since we just brought this out, but it is inevitable, of course. Where I've had it at the shows, and
Yeah.
people see the 40,000 plus price tag on it. And I said, well, don't you have it in a expedition that's more like low 30s or
Yeah.
something like that? And I said, right now we don't. I'm not sure if we'll do it in an expedition trim level, which we may. I know you were asking in the email too earlier about like would we do it in a 12 footer, which doing that setup in a 12-foot box like a classic size unit is a little bit more difficult because again there's not quite as much room in those trailers
You
because
did
they're
you did it Ranger 12 though, because the Ranger 12 had the twin
we
before.
we did briefly, yes.
Yeah.
And again, that was another thing that came out right before COVID, and we had only built a couple of them before the world shut down, and it was one of those things that had to go. So not to, when it can be done.
Yeah.
So there may be a day where it comes in a 12-foot model, either a Ranger 12 or a Classic. That would be the most likely scenario. I think is probably to go to a smaller size with it.
Okay. Okay. Well, here's hoping.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still trying to figure out the way to make my classic into twin, and I know I would have to move a bunch of stuff around, and I'm just not handy enough.
No, it
I
can be
gotta
done.
get
There's a few
John.
people that
I
have
gotta
done
get
it, but
John Steele on contract.
yeah, it becomes a major project.
Well, I'm so excited that you guys brought this back. And so what's our next podcast going to be about?
Well, we haven't done anything on the green 40th anniversary unit yet, which
Okay.
is a basically like an Evolution 12, but it's got the green exterior. I don't know if you remember back, 5 years ago when we did the 35th anniversaries, we did the red and blue
Okay.
exteriors, which were very popular.
Okay.
And again, in the name of streamlining production during COVID, those colors were so popular. We continued to build those even after our 35th anniversary was over. But during COVID, we went back to one fiberglass color and all that kind of stuff, which now we're kind of expanding back out of having the regular gray on the standard units, the dark gray on the Evolutions, and then we bought the green 40th anniversary out, which I guess we definitely should talk about the fact that A-Liner is celebrating our 40th year in
Sure,
business this year. So
sure.
probably one of the longest standing independent companies in the entire industry at this point, and pretty happy to be working for them.
Okay. Well, sounds like we got a plan for the next podcast.
Sounds good.
Okay. Well, thank you so much again, Chuck. I really appreciate your time on this. And when's your next show?
You know what, Daryl? I got this weekend off, which is nice. And then next weekend, I'm headed to, I live in Michigan, so I got local shows happening here from here on out. I got Flint, Michigan next weekend with General RV Center. And then the weekend after that, I'll be up in Traverse City, Michigan with Krennic RV. And we'll have A-Liners on display at both of those.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. Hey, so when's the what's the plan for getting a A-liner dealer here in Las Vegas? I talked to Brett about that a couple of times, and I haven't heard anything else.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's not my territory, but I know that they've been talking about that and working on it. And I am a gambling man, so maybe I'll come out and help them
All
process.
right, West Coast.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Sorry. Say hi, Sandy.
Hi, buddy.
All right, Chuck. It was a lot of fun.
All right,
So
Daryl. Have a great day.
I'll talk to you in a month or so.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.